join others in congratulating you in your role as chair and send our prayers to you. And it's a great honor for me to, on behalf of the Assembly of First Nations, as well as a number of First Nations and Indigenous organizations and NGOs, to offer up the voice of a number of groups, as was encouraged by the Secretary General, and to offer this brief statement as well as recommendations. As a consensus international human rights instrument, the realization of the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples is crucial to the survival, dignity, and well-being of Indigenous peoples worldwide. UN Special Rapporteur on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples James Anaya concluded in his August 2010 report to the UN General Assembly, implementation of the Declaration should be regarded as a political, moral, and legal imperative without qualification within the framework of the human rights objectives of the Charter of the United Nations. Our organization strongly agree. In view of the rampant and persistent human rights violations globally, the full and effective implementation of the Declaration is urgently needed. We welcome the fact that the Declaration is being used by UN treaty bodies to interpret Indigenous peoples' rights and related state obligations under international treaties. Use of the Declaration is also being made by UN specialized agencies and the Human Rights Council's special rapporteurs and independent experts. The Declaration is increasingly being relied upon by domestic human rights commissions and courts. Some states, such as Canada and the United States, are dishonoring their endorsements of the Declaration at home and abroad. They are interpreting the Declaration in a manner that contradicts its terms and adversely affects Indigenous peoples worldwide. They are reneging on their international obligations to respect, protect, and fulfill Indigenous peoples' human rights. We recommend the following measures to the Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues as a means to promote and systematize the implementation of the Declaration at the national, regional, and international levels, as follows, the following 8 recommendations. Firstly, to recommend that the Human Rights Council authorize the expert mechanism on the rights of Indigenous peoples to conduct an annual review on the manner in which the Declaration is being interpreted and implemented at all levels. Secondly, to create a searchable database of specific measures, including best practices, taken to implement the Declaration, as proposed by the North American Indigenous Peoples Caucus. Thirdly, to make recommendations regarding states that undermine the Declaration, domestically or internationally, through actions that run counter to its provisions. Fourthly, to urge states in conjunction with Indigenous peoples to establish national plans of work to implement the Declaration with clear timelines and priorities. States should report regularly on the progress and shortcomings in implementing the Declaration to their national legislatures and to the Permanent Forum. Fifth, urge states in conjunction with Indigenous peoples to undertake a review of existing laws and policies to ensure compliance with the Declaration. Sixthly, urge states to uphold the international human rights standards in the Declaration so as to ensure full respect and implementation of all Indigenous peoples' rights, including those in treaties with such peoples. Number 7, to urge all levels of government and all multilateral agencies to ensure that all relevant staff are familiar with the Declaration and provided clear direction and support to uphold its provisions. 8th and last, to urge states in conjunction with Indigenous peoples to promote broader public awareness of and human rights education on the Declaration as a principled universal framework for justice and reconciliation. States must fulfill their international obligations to uphold the human rights of all. Chu Tleko, thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you for your statement.